Hey, friends.
Hey.
What's up?
I'm really excited to talk to y'all. It's been days, which I don't think anybody realizes we record on a Monday. So the weekends we barely speak.
Facts.
Which I don't, it's just what it is. It's not intentional. It's just we all do different things on the weekend. It is for Olivia. She's like, do not call me. I am resting.
Y'all heard our last episode. I'm just not tight. If you didn't hear the last episode with how rude Olivia is to us, you need to go back and listen to it.
I did talk to you, Courage, though, because first of
we're
all,
friends on the weekend. That's why.
We are weekend friends too. Week. But it's very interesting because I talk to you, Courage, and I do talk to Olivia too. But we don't ever really talk about work stuff on the weekends. It's just like we're doing something around the house, but it really is when we have an emergency for work, Olivia ignores us.
Welcome to our podcast. Hey guys, my name is Olivia Hayward.
What's up? It's your girl, Courage Molina.
Oh, it's Amber Likens, and this is my CEO Squad. Before you leave our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. In the comments, let us know where you're tuning in from, and we cannot wait to get to know you more. Let's go ahead and start this conversation.
Well, she doesn't even know if it's an emergency anyway.
I was about to say, emergency.
The thing is,
she
can't even care.
So out of control right now. Let me speak. Okay? Let me speak. First and foremost, guys, let me just break it down for you guys. There is no such thing as Olivia ignores them for work emergencies. Okay.
Oh.
Now, if they were to call me or text me and say something is down, but no, they don't do that. They just text. That first of all, they don't even text. I have no text except no text. Okay. So
after last week's recording, why would we text you?
Exactly. Well, it's not
after last week's recording. Why would we text you? I'm gonna dial 911. I'm not gonna text you
if there's no text or no call came in.
Text you for what? You told us last episode. Not only are you not taking our calls, you look at our calls. And I told you, I said this to your face before.
I don't look at your calls.
Listen, I said, oh, so you be looking at our calls and not answering. And before you were like, no, so you was capping before, because on the last episode, you were like, I'm not tied to my phone just because it's ringing. Doesn't mean I have to answer it. That's what you say.
No.
I wish we had Andy calling on here right now, so that you could run that.
Not in a natural sense that my phone is actual ringing. I hear it in my phone. I don't have my phone. Come on now, y'all know we don't have our ringers on, so I'm not listening to my phone ring because number one, it don't ring. Number two, what I meant is like I'm not going around looking for my phone or just like checking to see if it rings. That's what I meant. Not that I'm just looking at the phone like, oh, Courage is calling. Put my phone. I don't do that. Okay. I actually answer my phone. If I see my phone ringing, I'm available. I answer it. They act like I never talk to them on the weekend. That's a lie.
Second of all, you may not, like, you trying to lead these people astray. You may not have a ringer, but we have a special vibrational pattern when we call that distinguishes us from other people. So while when the phone, maybe the phone's not actually ringing, but when you hear that special vibrate, you know it's us. Now it's like, oh, I hear that vibrate, and it's not.
I'm not.
Don't talk about special vibrate on this podcast. That is not what this episode is about. Okay.
First of all, I don't know
so left right now.
What type of thing she
How was y'all weekend? Listen.
She's like a man. Do you carry your phone around in your pocket? No,
Who?
I do not.
Me?
No.
I don't hardly answer my phone on the weekend. I don't really take a lot of calls.
Yeah.
And I don't make a lot of calls on the weekend. Because we talking about
because I was calling you all day on Saturday and you did not answer.
Olivia, this is what happens when we talk about you and you're not on the phone. Act like you ain't here. Courage, let's talk about Olivia. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. We're not coming for you, Olivia. It's just facts.
I just like to say for the record, I have 0 missed calls from Olivia.
Funny.
As I said before, that's her favorite thing to say, though.
Okay,
I called you this weekend.
See.
You know what I'm saying?
I also want...
Yeah, 0 missed.
I want y'all to know that I feel very differently about this because I have a very different relationship with both of y'all. Like it's the same, but it's different. Because when I call y'all, like I will call you back to back.
Yes,
Right?
now
I don't
I'm not
call
about
you
to.
one time. I call you like you don't answer, and I'm like, that is so annoying. What is she doing right now? Maybe she's in the shower. Let me
I
call her
called
again.
you 8 o'clock
Friday.
on Friday, no answer. I called you
Yeah,
on
I
9:30
was
on
traveling. I
Friday.
got back. Now you're calling me right now.
Yeah, my mistake. 9:30, no answer. Then you know what time she calls me back, guys?
What is that noise?
I have no. It's not me.
Do y'all hear it?
Yes, it's a guy speaking.
Oh, my Lord. Olivia did that when she called me.
You know what time she calls me back, guys? At 10:26 p.m. Nobody ain't answering the phone for you then. I called you 2 times.
Why? You up?
Yes, I was asleep.
He's a lie.
Y'all are so hilarious.
Yeah, Amber will call you 100 times. She will. So that kind of just answer because she's going to keep calling. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just roll my eyes and say, Olivia ain't doing nothing. And I'm like, oh, Amber's with her kids. So that's it. And I just move on. But we're not talking about me and me not answering and my phone being on focus and do not disturb. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. So I'm just helping to lay down the facts about your behavior. We're not talking about my behavior. I said that last week. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you right now. Stay focused. So what y'all do this weekend? What y'all do? We gotta move on from this.
5 minutes in.
5 minutes in, 6 minutes in. What y'all do this weekend? I feel like I didn't do anything this weekend. I did nothing. I came home. I traveled last week. I was home. I got home on Friday. I ate and chilled. Saturday I had church. Ate and chilled. Sunday, ate and chilled. That's it. I did nothing else this weekend. Yeah,
I did a lot. I have more respect for single parents because my husband went out of town. He's gone for like 8 days on this trip that he goes and hunts, right? So there's not backup. It's just mom. And I think it's really cool because me and the kids just have more time to just like do bonding stuff. You know, we have a really good time together. That's fine. But there's a lot of moving parts. So before Alan left, our dryer stopped working. And we take those things for granted. So 2 things we take for granted: having another parent in the home and having the things like water and a washer and dryer and electricity, like all those things. Like when they go out, it's panic. We're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So the dryer broke and yeah, luckily, you know, we have Mammy and Pops next door, so we could go use theirs. Otherwise, we would have just been screwed. But we did order a new one, so they delivered it Saturday, and it's not even top of the line, but it's really nice. So I've washed like 4 loads. I'm washing stuff that I don't even normally wash. And the kids, the top of it's like glass. You know, it's not a front load. And by the way, let me talk on this. The way they used to make washer and dryers versus the way they do now, it is completely different because the ones that we did have, they were even in our home to the previous owners and they had it for years. Like these are old school. So for it to break, it basically the part would have cost the same. You might as well buy a new one. That's why we did that. But the washing machine, anyways, the new one has a glass top. So the boys, you can see the water and you can see it spin. They sat in front of that for 15 minutes, just like watching it do a full, like almost starting a load, you know? And they were like, this is cool. We wish the dryer had a glass front so we could see it do whatever. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. So that happened. And we did birthday parties. And watched movies. We were going to set up the tree and stuff yesterday. So I don't know if anybody knows this, but it's like the first week of November. I would have already had my tree up. So I'm wondering for you guys if y'all do. Courage, you did some office Christmas decor. So my Christmas decor, the outside lights of our home have been up since October, end of September, Christmas lights, but the inside is not happening yet. So hopefully this week I do that. That's the goal.
Yeah, no, I typically don't do it that early. I typically don't do it this early. I wait until like the day after Thanksgiving or December. But here's the thing. I don't get enough time with all the Christmas cheer when I wait until December. So I decided bump that. I don't care what these people are saying. I'm going to start right now. So I did a little bit in the office. I'm going to be pulling out my other decorations, and I'm going to fully decorate the office this week. And then next week, I'm going to be going out into the other parts of the house, getting it fully decorated. Yeah.
Because y'all have an artificial tree as well, right?
Nope. We have a real tree usually. But now I was thinking about this weekend. That's where my problem comes in.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to go pick up a real tree. Right. And this man that I married, he's going to refuse. He's not going to do it. I can't make him do it. He's not going to go get the tree before he thinks we should have a tree. I cannot imagine that he will comply before December 1st. I just can't imagine it, which drives me nuts. So nuts that yesterday when I was just thinking about this, which I didn't even ask him, so maybe he will. But the minute I started thinking about how much this annoys me, I was like, you know what? Bump that. I'm going to go and just buy a fake tree. Then I don't need to ask him to do nothing for me because I keep all of my Christmas decorations in the house. We used to keep them like in the garage or in an attic. And then again, I am at his mercy. I don't like that. I do not like it. I don't like you holding my Christmas decorations hostage. This is very dangerous for my spouse. You know what I'm saying? So now it's in the storage room that I can get to. I can get everything out on my own. I don't need nobody's help. I ain't got to wait. And when I start pulling stuff out, then he'll help. But if I needed him to pull it out first, no. So maybe this year I might get a fake tree because if I have a fake tree, then I could be putting it up right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to wait for him.
Yep.
I love the smell of a real tree. I love the look of it. I love him and one of the kids either, going down there, even though they don't live here. If somebody goes with him, one of the kids go with him and getting the tree and picking the tree out and putting it on the car. Maybe I like the idea of it because I'm not involved.
Yeah.
I'm at the house cooking or baking, but I love seeing them come in with the tree, and then we put it up. Like, I just love that. Maybe they don't love that so much, but I really like it. And I love the smell of the real Christmas tree.
So I have an idea for y'all, or for you, Courage, in this situation. Yeah, go buy an artificial one. But, if the kids or if your husband they want to go get a real tree, it would be really cool. I'm kind of into these, like, have an outdoor tree. So you could still get a real tree and have the experience of the real tree and put it on your back patio where y'all spend a lot of time.
Or you could put it in your front room, front room, so it can be
in the window. Yes. I'm going to do that. So first of all, he's not going to get me a second tree. You don't understand this life that I live. Hey, this man is not going to get me a second tree.
Yeah, you think once they see the first tree up, you're going to be like, I
don't. He's going to, I would have to like pitch a fit, which I'm not above it. Like, that's fine. If it comes to it, I can do it. Yeah.
First of all, I know your husband well enough to say.
You think he's going to do it?
Yeah, once you have the first tree up, he's going to be like, what we need another tree for?
Yeah, I'll have to actually pitch a fit to get the second one.
In order for it to work, he would have to buy that tree first, and then you would buy it.
But if I threaten to go and get the tree myself, like, you know what, Mike, fine, you're not going to go. I can tell this because he's not listening to this podcast. Fine, you're not going to do it. I'm going to go and get the tree myself. If I get in the car and I get my shoes on and I'm like, I'm going to go and get the tree, he's going to curse and be like, fine. But then he's going to go do it, though.
Yeah. It's very funny how we know. I mean, everyone knows their spouse. You know how they're going to react. But it's also, it brings me back to therapy. You're creating a story, right? You're not actually just like, let it happen, right? So in this moment, even though that is his pattern, it's like creating this story. We do this all the time naturally. We don't even like.
Yes, I had therapy today and I told her today. She said something to me. I was like, first of all, you sound crazy. She's helped me so much. Like, she's great. She's amazing. But today, I don't know what she was telling me. She was like, well, maybe this, or I need to do something, she was saying. And I was like, just the thought of doing it, you sound crazy if you think about this. But I respond that way. But I'm gonna try, always do what she says. I eventually do what she says because you want to be mentally healthy. But that is one of the things that she says. So I am going to ask him. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to invite him into this process. I would love to have a fake tree to put up, and I would love to have a real tree in the front room so that we can have one there. I'm going to say that to him. I'm going to ask him and not create a narrative, and then I will respond according to his response. Okay.
I have one request.
You want me to record this?
Oh. Yeah, set your cell phone up and just record this reaction. Just send it to us so we know what happened. You can just tell him that it's time lapsing. It's just a time lapse. It's just running. But meanwhile,
I'll be bleeping out. Bleep, bleep, bleep.
I have something so funny because Olivia, when you were here in Charlotte, right, you would set it for Christmas and we would have this conversation every Christmas season. Your husband likes colored lights. You like white lights. It is like, I was thinking of it last night. Maddox wants he's like, I love orange. So that's great. So he was thinking about like orange lights or something, orange whatever. Girl, I looked at them orange lights on Amazon. I was like, oh, Greg, no, I can't start. I said 8 years old. He's never going to cut this. No, we cannot. We got to stick with white. So I got him orange. Yeah, I was like, no, Greg is an adult.
This is the thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be different for you because the reason why Greg likes colored lights is because his childhood, he remembers seeing, like, he grew up in New York, so they had all the colored lights or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But apparently New York, now they only do white lights. So I'm like, why was they doing that? But I think back in that day, everybody was using colored lights. I can even remember, like, some of our first trees, they had colored lights. But quickly, when I started doing the trees at my house, when I was a kid, they only had white lights. Okay?
We had colored lights coming up. Mike likes colored lights. And maybe it's a man thing.
So I think it's like, they grew up with this colored lights. This is what he says. It's because what he grew up on or whatever. They didn't grow up on the white lights. So I think, Max and Cruz, they'll be fine because you're going to grow them up in a proper manner on white
Or they might not be. Or they might be like, you know what? My mom
never had us. Yep. That's
never let me
they
have
might be like, Mom
lights.
never let us have colored lights.
I want colored lights. Yeah.
Well, I let them pick out their own decor this year. Every year their trees have gotten sadder and sadder. They have their own little trees in their room, little mini trees. And they're probably like 3 foot. I don't know how tall they are, like as tall as them or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I like them to have their own tree because I'm the parent. I'm sure other parents can relate. Encourage. You are probably right here remembering this. Your kids come home with decor and they want to put it on the main tree.
Oh, no.
That probably,
no.
Listen.
I'm not you now. Listen, I'm not you. I let my kids put them ugly decorations on the regular tree. All that mixed, matchy, halfway broken, snaggletooth picture, candy cane, macaroni, popcorn type of decoration. I was a mom who allowed her children to put there all those things. That was my portion as a mom. Christmas, the holidays, this thing is really for the kids. So I'm doing all of this. But baby, let me tell you something. As soon as they got old enough, like teens, as soon as they got to that, I was done. But when they were young, like your kids, I did not crush my children and say, oh, your decorations aren't good enough for the main tree. You can put on the sad tree you got in your room. I did not do my children that way.
Well, I don't care what anybody says to me or you. I'm going to stick by this. The main tree is like an experience. It's like the aesthetic of the space, right? But their trees, what has been sad over the years is that we have just been kind of like letting them put their decorations on them. But then like, they'll get a piece of paper and write a smiley face and throw it on the tree. And I'm like, we have to have a theme. So I let Maddox and Cruz last night buy new Christmas decor. It wasn't extravagant. Just like go on Amazon, find some things that you like. What do you want your tree to look like? So Cruz is like peppermints, candy. Of course, he loves candy. And we already kind of have some peppermint type things. And Maddox, he wanted orange, but I was like, we have to still have a theme. So we did like pine cones. And like they have a tree, so he got a tree topper that's like a deer. So like this one that kind of glows and orange like balls. So that's kind of cool.
Is it?
And then they can put their kids' stuff with it, but at least it's like some type of theme, you know? I think it's fine. I like it. I like that experience. I'm not the only parent out there like that, so I literally don't care what y'all say.
Oh, so funny.
Goodness.
Yeah, but I did not get colored lights. I just couldn't bring myself to it. You know what Maddox did say though? He was like, "That's like Halloween, the orange lights." You know?
Yeah.
I was like, "It kind of is." So let's just do orange balls. So we did that. I think it's gonna be cute. Let's hope.
Yeah, I thought about Victor doing a small tree somewhere that has colored lights. I mean, Greg, he could put a tree in his office. He could do whatever. I don't know. If I do a tree, it's definitely going to be white lights. But I've stopped doing trees because I don't want colored lights.
Sad. That's very sad.
Decorations. I do decorations. I have my little mini trees. I put I find cute ways to hang up my ornaments. But honestly, I haven't done a tree in maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
You know why though? It's not because of the lights, Olivia. It is because you had that small tree that Ashley had for a long time.
No, that's not why.
Tree. You really think it's because you're avoiding conflict with Greg? That is what's happening right now.
Yes.
No, she's not avoiding conflict. She's being a brat with Craig.
Yeah,
she's not avoiding conflict.
Yeah, I don't
because she could put up Olivia is a grown woman. She could put up a tree. She's not avoiding conflict. Greg is not anti-tree. Olivia could put up a tree, put those tacky behind lights on there. She's not gonna die. She's not gonna go blind. She'll be fine. But instead,
it doesn't match the aesthetic.
Princess is like, oh, it's not my aesthetic.
No,
you know what? Y'all two, and I do, and it's very sad for me. But y'all two peas in the pod.
That's why she wants us to be. That's why you want me to do it. You want me to join your piggy party, but I
no. Just because you down,
my little trees. I got little trees in the office, and they have white lights on them.
So cute.
Yeah,
well, we'll see in a few weeks. We'll see what happens. We'll come back and tell you exactly what happened in each of our homes.
Wow. So what are we talking about on this podcast today? It can't just be this. We're 20 minutes and we got to be talking about.
I have to tell. This is so strong on my heart. So strong on my heart. 2 things.
Oh, I don't know where this is going.
Olivia has created a monster. I told you this, Courage, this weekend. She's created a monster. Now I literally can create anything I want. I can sell anything I want because I know how to create it. I know Olivia has literally over the years, she doesn't even know this. She has been molding me. And she has said for a while, she's like, I want to teach you how to do this. So she really just wants me. What is the word? I couldn't find the word this weekend. You found it for me, Courage. I feel more.
She's equipping you and empowered.
Empowered. I feel more empowered, right? Yeah, you've definitely been equipping me, but I feel very empowered. So if I want to sell a workshop for my girls' makeup workshop, okay, let me just do that right now. Love it. I can design it, but then this is my only fault, right? I'm not a designer, so I can put
you're getting better. You just need tweaks.
And I'm like, Olivia, I'm going to share my Canva with you.
I don't know. You needed a little bit of overhaul, but most of the time you just need tweaks.
So I think over time, I'm okay with not being a designer like that on graphics. Olivia just has an eye for it. I'm cool to tell y'all I do.
But I think over time you'll learn how to, because I think this time you watched me or whatever, or kind of watched me back and forth or whatever, but you'll learn how to. One of the things I tell people all the time, especially when I'm teaching graphics, I used to tell people this in our courses too when it comes to Canva. Canva is a great tool. There's so many different options out there that you can use and just kind of mold it and make it your own, but you have to learn how to customize it. So it's like, yes, they have great graphics there, but you have to learn how to customize it for your brand and for your and for the information that you're going to put on the graphics. So I think it's just learning how to search and find, because honestly, when I made your graphics for that class or whatever, I just you told me what you wanted. You said, oh, I want it to look glam. And she doesn't know, but I actually put those exact words inside Canva and said glam flight or whatever I looked up or whatever. And then that's how I got all of those sparkly whatever.
Yeah.
So it's is sometimes it's just about learning how to use the tools. And that's the one thing I say about Fiverr all the time. People are like, oh yeah, use Fiverr, use Fiverr. I'm like, Fiverr is great, right? You can get some people overseas to make you some things that's like pretty inexpensive or whatever. Sometimes, I mean, they have people charging a lot. Fiverr has a great range on there, right? You can find some low stuff and some high stuff too, like professionals on there doing things. But this is the thing about it. If you don't know how to articulate what you want and what you need, that's where you're going to come against like getting the wrong thing. Like they're going to totally give you the wrong file formats, or they're going to give you not what you wanted. It's not going to be what you want, because already it's going to be sometimes a language barrier, because a lot of those people are able to charge that because they're working overseas and things of that nature. So that's where the key comes in. It's like learning how to search for what you're trying to create, and also learning how to articulate like what you actually want. So once you start to get those things down, it's so much easier to make your own graphics. It's so much easier to find low cost people to do your graphics, and so many other things. So that's what I would say is the key. Like that's the learning. And I don't know. I need to learn how to teach.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not helpful for people like me. That's absolutely useless information that you're giving out right now. I think that it works for Amber because Amber has an eye for like decor, right? She has an eye for looks and makeup, and like you have an eye for that. I think if you have that type of artistic, creative eye, whether it's in styling or home decor or makeup or DIY type stuff, like, or graphics, I feel like if you have an eye for those things, then what you're saying, you can improve and improve and improve. A person like me, because I know people are listening, and some of the people who are listening, they're like me, and I don't want them to waste a minute of their time doing what you say right now. Don't waste your time, because the learning curve for a person like me is going to cost me way more in time than whatever would just cost me in money to pay for a graphic designer, not on Fiverr. I've only used Fiverr like maybe one or two times. And it's because of that, right? Because I don't know the language, because I don't know the look, because I don't even have I don't even have the words to describe what I want to a person so that they can give me what I want. I'm just like, oh, I want it to look good. Well, saying it looks good, that is not helpful to another person unless y'all got the same exact style, right? And so I just have to get, for a person like me, I have to pay for templates to be created by a graphic designer. I have to get a suite of things and get my brand colors and things like that done in Canva. And I don't operate outside of that. Like I do not operate outside of the brand colors and the suite that you gave me for graphics and things. Like I'm not doing anything outside of that, because every single time I do one, it looks so sad. It makes me cry just looking at it. I'm like,
for
very
someone
sad.
For someone like you, to be honest, is just go to Canva and find a template and use it, and don't edit anything. Just change the words and the verbiage, add some images and replace, and then just use that.
It's not going to be good. It's
not going to be good. But for someone basic that ain't trying to be good, they just trying to put something out there.
I might be basic, but I think you confuse my lack of skill with the lack of desire for my brand to be elevated. Like I have a certain brand aesthetic that I'm looking for. And all I'm saying is there are lots of things that I can cut corners with because of my skill set. I can cut corners with my copy. I don't necessarily have to get somebody to write my copy for me because I'm pretty good with copy. I can, do that with some other things. If I'm creating a workbook, I don't need somebody to come in. If I'm creating curriculum, I can do that. I'm mapping out a course. I can do that without paying for somebody, even if somebody could do it faster or better than me. That learning curve is going to be real short for me because I have a natural bend. But when it comes to designing, if you want your brand to look like, if you want to look professional, then you can't just keep using. You can't just go to Canva and use that canned stuff, especially if you're talking about like brand continuity, because even the changing of the colors, I know that sounds very simple, right? Like go there and just change the colors. It's not just changing the colors to your brand colors. It's also which colors to change to which colors of your brand. So if it's brown, orange, and green on here, I have 4 brand colors. What am I supposed to replace the brown with? What am I supposed to replace this with? And now my stuff be looking so chintzy. I just don't do it. And that is for me.
This is not an advertisement for whether you should hire or not hire the graphic designer. That wasn't that is. This was a conversation about Amber getting groomed by a graphic designer.
Yes.
So now that she now has the opportunity to do more things on her own. So I'm telling you guys why this is possible because of
I understand that you're saying because of the grooming. You could not groom me to that. That's the point I'm making.
I think that's incorrect because I think you have gotten a lot better than you have been in.
Why don't you like the word groom? I don't think
grooming,
that you could train.
I cannot stand that. Grooming me? No, girl.
Yeah.
I cannot.
I think you have gotten a lot better. Mold, okay? Grasshopper. I think you've gotten a lot better.
You think I've gotten a lot better? I've literally not created anything from scratch since you gave me a suite.
Yeah.
So anything you saw in mine, I stole from you. And that is 100%.
And I think that's fine. Get somebody to help you get started.
Yeah, but that's the point. That is actually the distinction that I'm making, because right now somebody is listening and they are not Amber, they are me. And you are leading them astray. And listen, this is not false humility. Like, I kill at a lot of stuff. I feel like where I kill, you really struggling to be at my level. Like, and I just mean that. So I don't mean this like on some, that's not my style. That ain't me. I'm fire at the things I'm fire at. And there are some areas that I can learn and adjust. But what I'm saying is somebody is listening and they have the same skill set and design eye as me. And so it sounds like, especially if they haven't started yet, like, oh, maybe I could get with somebody and they could help me to do this and get better at this or whatever. And I'm saying you really have to know who you are and you have to know your underlying skill set. And I think those underlying skill sets can be improved drastically, right, with the right help and the right coaching. But there are some things, now that I'm where I am, that it is a waste of time for me to get coached in those areas, because the amount of time and effort I'm going to have to put in to just be okay. You're saying I've improved. Well, that's still setting the bar very low. I wish I could pull up some of the stuff I started with, because I could just see in my head. Like, do you remember some of those Instagram graphics where you were like, what are you doing? I can just see in my head where I started. So to say that I'm better than that, to say that I've improved from that, you ain't saying nothing, because it's still mediocre for you to put in the amount of time and effort it takes for me to create something that is still going to be very basic and average. It is not a good use of my time. And I just want to make that clear, because somebody's going to be wasting hours upon hours like I used to do, right? Trying to do what you're saying to do. But because I don't have an eye for it, when you come back and look at it and you're like, okay, every single time I did something, it needed a complete overhaul. It's just like somebody cooking. You may be able to cook a basic meal, but the amount of time it's going to take you to try and make this like delicious thing, first of all, it's not going to be that good. For some people who can't cook that good, like you wasted all that time and effort and it's going to taste average, just order out. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're making a grilled cheese, that's all I'm saying.
You can mess up a grilled cheese, girl. You can burn it. You can burn water.
Listen, we know you know. That's my point. She's actually a great example of that, right? Like, putting in all that time for something to just be mediocre, that is representing your brand, is what I'm saying.
I think the moral of the story is, there are some areas
where you need to get trained, and there's some areas because there are some areas where you need to get trained and groomed and molded, and your skills can be developed, your natural bend can be developed. I think that is great, but there are also times where you have to tap out and lean on a professional, because the amount of
Yes.
time that you're going to put in is just, it's not going to get you the results that you want. I think Amber does a great job.
Yeah.
Not because she's a better student than me, right? But because she has a natural bend. Girl, you could, I don't care how much time you put into writing.
But that's
you
just
cannot outright me.
That's not a thing. We weren't really talking about graphics. It was more about how now she's empowered to set up her own products and things on her website.
But we did move on to how it looks.
Yes, but the reason why I said that is because it just is searchable, right? It's like how you search is so important for what you're looking for if you're going to do it. I'm not talking about people who ain't never did it before.
No, I agree.
So that's more
I agree with that. I think it is important to grow in your skill sets and to learn how to do more things, even if you're eventually going to pass them off, so that you at least know what the process is like. I think that is an important thing, and it is empowering to get trained and equipped and molded, not groomed, to get molded and shaped, and all those things. I think that's great, but with a limited amount of time, I just want everybody to choose the areas that they are getting groomed and empowered in, because it can be demotivating.
Yeah.
Right. It can be demotivating if I don't see the growth, or if I don't see the whatever in an area. So you really have to know yourself. But definitely, I'm team get trained. I'm from the school of Google, YouTube,
Google University. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a lot of things. But, because it does make you feel like, oh, if something shuts down, I can do it myself. If my website shut down, however, it's going to be shut down, people. Until, especially if it's shut down. If it's shut down on a Friday night, it's going to be shut down till 9 a.m. Monday morning, because it's not taking no call to me.
Yeah. Well, I felt really good last week. I had 3 days, though. This is another thing I don't want anybody to get sidetracked on. You can't create a product, and you cannot create anything that you want to sell, promote, give a service in like 2 hours. It is such a process. So for 3 days last week, I was in front of my computer looking like I've never taken a shower. I just looked rough. And then Friday, my hair, I know Kurt says something about my hair every day last week, and I was like, I swear it's clean. It just looks terrible. But Friday I got home and I had the worst throbbing headache, and I was so hungry. And it's because my eyes, like I just was in front of the computer the whole time. I was like creating, and I even said to Olivia Friday, thankfully I have you, because we're on FaceTime as I'm doing stuff. So if I have a question, like we have each other we can lean on. That is why we're actually here for you guys on this podcast, because we really want y'all to be able to feel like you can lean on us and ask us questions so we can answer them here. But when I had an issue, I could ask Olivia, and she would answer it and help me work through it. But I stepped out, went to the bathroom, and I came back. And when I was in the bathroom, in that moment, it hit me of everything that I had to finish today on Friday so it could go live Saturday. And I was really overwhelmed. And I feel like sometimes you see people do things online and you just go, wow, let me do that. And you think it's so fast. You think the system's so easy. Even explaining how you did it seems so simple. But when you're dealing with the internet and the upload and a download and a connection and a connect your payment, connect the checkout, do all of the little pieces that intertwine into making something function on the internet takes a lot of time and patience. And so I just want y'all to be patient with the process of doing it. Even if you feel super empowered to do it yourself, don't rush it. But just be really mindful of the time and the exhaustion you're going to feel from it. But I feel so good. Saturday, I felt really good. Yes, Sunday, I felt really good. I was like, it's done. I don't have to open my computer until Monday morning and start promoting. I just felt so good, because in the past, if you hire help, you have to wait on that person to provide the service, or the product. And you're just waiting and waiting until it's done. You're like, yay, it's done. But now I get to appreciate it even more. Even though you appreciate it when someone does it for you and you pay for a service, you're like, that's really cool. I paid for this. This is awesome. But when you do it yourself and the blood, the sweat, the tears kind of go into it, you just appreciate it even more, to promote it even more because you have that much passion behind it. I also find it very important that, what was my thought going to go with this? Oh gosh, it was such a good thought. It was such a good thought. And it was really about appreciating the process. But anyways, that's what I wanted to say about it. It'll probably come back to me. But just appreciate you for helping. Like getting me
what I love is
a
customized template, like for the things that I do. I absolutely love a customized template. Like it is customized for me, for my brand, for my aesthetic. And it is something that I'm going to be doing all the time. Like when we did the Bible study guides, well, Olivia designed, the Bible study guide, and she gave me several covers. But then with every new Bible study guide, I could just literally go in. If I got an idea, if I got like squirrel brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should totally do a Bible study on gratitude. Then I could just go and I didn't have to call her. Yeah. She did not have to hear me saying, I need this when you need it. But actually, I need it for in the morning, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that for me is definitely makes me feel extremely empowered. I feel like, oh, I have this template. I could do whatever I like. I feel like a superstar being able to do that.
Yeah.
And not feeling like I have to, like you said, wait. And I think, listen, I want to say this too. Like, I want to be clear. It's not because you're a service provider or Olivia is so slow. It's because the world does not revolve around you, which is shocking for me and Amber. Like every time we are reminded that the world actually does not revolve around us, I feel like we are shocked. Like, wait, what? This whole thing is not about me? Wow. Crazy. It's very interesting, right? Yeah. It's not because, people aren't great in providing service. It's because we will be on the phone. We will watch a show. We will see something. We will watch a movie and be like, ooh, you know what? I got an idea. And we never have an idea that can wait 3 months, or this idea can wait 5 months. Every idea that Amber and I get has to be done today. And do you know who we need to get these things done? Both of us. Olivia. And so like there's all these moving parts, all these things. She can't just throw it together. Like, and she also has a whole business. She does not work for us. She's got her own clients. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably going to be true unless you have hired somebody and you have employed them and their only responsibility is doing those things. It is definitely empowering and freeing to be able to go in and just kind of do the things that you plan on duplicating, whether it's a product or a service, 100%. Olivia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's great. I really don't have no thoughts on that. I mean, I
have something I want you to speak on, Olivia, because you dealt with this firsthand. And this was kind of going back to my thought that I lost, but now it's back. Thank gosh. But you have to know how to do something before now listen, not everybody, this is not all the time in every situation, but if you hire someone or have someone do something for you and you just send that off, like you delegate somebody, do this, right? And they do it. What if that person, you never see them again, they just drop the ball and you are left in like panic mode? Oh my gosh, I can't get a hold of them. I don't even know how to log in to send an email. Like it can be that simple of a task that you go into panic. I don't even know how to get into my Trello to look at the board to share it with someone else that needs information. It can be that simple. Olivia has dealt with this a lot because she's had clients over the years that rely on her 110%. And if Olivia didn't get back with them soon enough, they didn't get what they needed to when they wanted it. And I want you to speak on that, Olivia, because I find that not only being empowered to create something yourself, but create it yourself or learn how to do it in the process. Have that person show you how they did it, because that is your baby. That is your business. And if they tank, it is not, they literally could care less. It is not their business. That is not their thing, right? Even though that's not really good for their reputation if they want more clients. But if you can't rely on them, it's not their responsibility to go like, let me make sure I'm there 24/7 if they need me in an emergency. You need to know how to log in. You need to know how to hit send. You need to know how to edit something to fix it if it's wrong, if there's a glitch, because otherwise you're screwed. And I feel really powerful and passionate about that because I had an editing team, all these things that I get help with or hire out. But there's been a moment where I've like paused on some stuff because I'm like, I just need to kind of take control again. And if I didn't know how to do it, I could have never taken control again. And I feel always very empowered by the things that you teach me, Olivia, in creating and doing and all that. But also, you have to be mindful of like not allowing that person to go, let me teach you. You have to ask, can you show me how to do this? Right? Make sure you stand up for yourself. You know, you have to be the one that's obviously speaking out on that. But I want you to talk about that because I think that y'all both probably feel different about that sometimes. Delegate stuff.
Yeah, okay.
You don't want to learn. Yeah, talk on that.
So a couple different things. First of all, it really depends on what it is, right? Because there's some instances, you know, back in the past where I built more websites. I can't show you everything about a website. It's not going to happen. I can show you how to log in. I can show you how to change things, those types of things, simple things, right? I'm not going to sit down and teach you everything when it comes to that. But, you know, simple things like if you're a content creator and it's like editing videos and doing those types of things, absolutely, you definitely should learn how to do them so that when you delegate it, if there comes a problem. But I would say a lot of times, this is my number one thing that I find with people is that they do not know their passwords. Okay. They know passwords to nothing.
People.
If you are a business owner, you need to get a Trello board. You need to get a folder. You need to get paper. I don't know what you need to get, but you need to know your passwords. You need to know where your website is hosted at. You need to know where you bought your domain from. You need to know these things because it always happens. It always happens where someone is reaching out for me to help them with something. They don't know who their domain is bought with. They don't know who's hosting their site. Something happens to their site. They don't know the host of it. Well, if you don't know the host, you have nothing. Okay. You have no site anymore. Okay. Yes, there's different softwares that you can look it up and things like that. But then you need passwords. You need to know all of these things. So I'm like, at the bare minimum, know if you hire a designer, just get them to give you all the information. They should give you information, but if they don't, be like, hey, don't wait till you're not working with them no more. That's what you need to know immediately. Can you please give me a list? And most of the time, 95% of the time, I have my clients open up their own GoDaddy account and their own hosting account. Sometimes just so they open it up, their information is on there. And so that they kind of can take control of it and then have them give me the passwords because it always works better because then they know exactly where their stuff is. In that instance, when we're talking about websites and stuff like that. But also another thing is if you, this is for my small businesses. A lot of small businesses, what you guys do, like especially if you have a brick and mortar spot, what you guys do is y'all have someone in charge and you let them open everything up. But you're using their email, or if you have a company email, right? You would say you have an employee and her name is Sharon at whatever the business is. Well, you have Sharon open up all your accounts for everything under her email. When Sharon leaves, guess what? All those emails are gone. Bye-bye. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't give you their information so you can get into their emails or anything like that. So now all your information is gone with Sharon. Okay? So for my small businesses, open it up under an admin account, under a info or contact, whatever. Open up all of your business things, like all your business accounts, because we all know there's tons of different things that we got to sign up for to run a business, and they need your email and they need passwords. There's 100 different things that we got to have. So it's like use a email information and password information that you actually have access to, not just Sharon. Because when Sharon goes bye-bye, you're going to be like, I don't know, lost lost in the woods because you have no access to nothing. So that's my small tip for small businesses. And then for my solo entrepreneurs, know your passwords. Write them down. Know where things, even if you don't know how to work it, know where it's housed at, right? Know, okay, I use Bluehost. No, I use GoDaddy for my domain. Don't just be clueless and oblivious to where your things are. And then you can walk into the step of like doing things about it. Like, okay, how do I do this? How do I update my site? Because you might not know how to, like, if your site crashed, you might not know how to go in and fix it and bring it back up. But if you knew what was if you knew where it was hosted and who was your provider, you can possibly go on to that account and have a customer service. Because with all of these websites, 9 times out of 10 is not really your designer fixing it. 9 times out of 10 is your designer, just because when things happen on the back end, a lot of times when these whole sites, unless your designer has some servers in their house, most times the servers are messing up at the company. So they are just reaching out to the company to have these things fixed. Okay? That's number one. So I would say at least know the company, because maybe you can get in there and chat with them and say, hey, my site's down. Can you help me? If you don't have access to that person anymore. Because 9 times out of 10, that's probably what they're doing, unless there's been like a software issue. But most of the time it's a hardware issue, which the servers are with the company that you use. So it's very important to know, what company am I using? So that's just some of my tips.
No, I like your tips. I have certainly been in the situations that you're talking about, because I'm a person who, like, I don't know where my password is. Now, things are typically in my name, but I have no, I had no system. I was just picking stuff randomly. How you got that? I don't know, because it's right there. So I just click, and now I got it. What's your email? I don't know what email I use. I got 30,000 emails, and I thought, oh, this email would be good for this, or this email would be good for that. So it's all over the place. And I have LastPass. I have my Google Chrome backup, but even those sometimes don't work. I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't know where I wrote it. I was just running into this problem the other day. I also had somebody come on, and I got, with the church, right? With the church, I had somebody come on with the church. And so I paid for a license, a Zoom license, because you can get multiple licenses, but you have to pay for each license that you get. So I paid for an additional license. And what I did was I paid for an additional license. I put it in that person's name, right, with that person's email. And then when that person was no longer working for the church and I needed to bring somebody else in, I'm like, am I about to pay for another license? Am I like, how am I going to do it? And so I had to go in and get rid of it, right? I had to go in and reassign that license to the church, right? So I have a license. And so now the church admin has a license. So no matter who comes in that spot, right, they can just roll right in there and they can get on and log in. I can give it out, like, it's fine. They'll show up as the church. I can take the license back, all of those things. But I ended up in all those situations. So 100% agree. 100%, because I can never find my stuff. I definitely probably need to get a Trello. The other problem that I recently
wait a second. You don't have a board right now that houses all that information?
No, I have LastPass. I don't have it. I don't have it all in one place. I have LastPass. So anything that didn't get put in LastPass, you could ask me. Maybe I know, but I probably don't know. Right. So
I don't have LastPass. So yeah.
Well, I have LastPass because I have somebody doing my funnels, and I also had an assistant at one point, and so they needed to be able to get in. The LastPass is great. It's exactly like you're talking about, right? So they can get in and get access without me giving them my sign-in information. LastPass just allows them to get in, and I can remove it if I let them go, if they go crazy or whatever. I can remove that access, and now I don't have to change my password. That's another thing too. You think like, oh, and they also cannot change my password because they don't actually have access to that. So that is all great. The other thing, and this is something I ran into, it is very difficult to go from a solopreneur to like CEO mindset. We talk about the My CEO squad. A CEO, really, like, we have employees, right? There are people who work for a CEO. That's where we're going. And that's the mindset. It's not just a solopreneur, because that navigating that behind the scenes is completely different for a person who was like basically in charge of all they do and they just are like outsourcing, and someone who has a team. I think that if you're a solopreneur, it makes sense for you to kind of have your hand in a lot of stuff. But if that is how you stay, and I'm saying this as a person who is 100% a control freak, like I'm telling you, as a person who really struggles to delegate, I really struggle to delegate. Okay. You will stay a solopreneur if you don't get to a place where you can hire good people and not know everything that they're doing. You cannot run a multi-million-dollar company and then know about all the moving parts. That's just not going to happen. But if you don't have a system, you're not going to get there, because when your assistant comes in, you don't have any SOPs. I don't have anything to give you. I don't have a file where all the things that my assistant would need. She's going to be asking me for stuff. If I say, oh, I need you to do my email, she's going to be like, oh, how do I get your emails? Because I don't have a file to give to the person who's going to come in and assist. So I think that's another reason you need to know all your passwords and where everything is. You need to have a file so that when you begin to graduate from solopreneur to CEO and you start to add people, actively adding people to your team, you cannot delegate if your stuff is all over the place. You don't know where anything is. You don't know how to get into anything. And if you can't do it in a protected way, because listen, I don't like to say this because I just think I don't want to believe it. I just don't want to believe it. But I'm going to tell you my experience. Good help is really hard to find. And so when you hire somebody, you think you got the right person. You excited, they got all the skills, they can do all the things. Then you hire them, you paying these folks for weeks and months before you decide to pull the trigger and let them go. So now I have to take this back from them, right? You think the first person you hire is going to be your forever person. It ain't. Even if they're great, they're not going to be your forever person, because people move on. They have great aspirations, whatever. But you definitely have got to get to a place where you have a system, so that handoff, like the handing off of the baton of those things that somebody else is going to be doing, is smooth, because you're probably going to have to do it. You're probably going to have to hand it off more than once. And you don't want to have to change emails and passwords every single time you find a new person. How many personal assistants have I been through? I don't know. Y'all pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me.
Yeah, good help is hard to find. And honestly, I hear that from everybody. Not even.
I know, but I don't like it. I don't like saying it. I don't want to say it. I want to say finding good help is easy. It has not been my experience. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling y'all, good people are out there just waiting to get hired. I don't know where they at, so don't ask me. And I ain't hired none of them. No, I just believe, I have to believe that good people are easy to find, even if it has not been my experience.
Yeah, yeah. I just think people get really caught up in that. People just get very complacent. Like they just are like, oh, I'm hired. Oh, it's good. And they just like get chill and lax. And
they don't want to do good work. Why don't you want to do, like, I want to be the best at what I'm doing for you.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you've hired me to do, I want to have great results for you. Because that for me is an extension. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we are dysfunctional. Maybe the three of us.
Absolutely
You always say no, but you are not a therapist. You don't know. It might be us.
I am not the problem. You are not the problem, Courage. Olivia, you are not the problem. Good help is possible. 100%. I totally believe that. But it is hard to find. And I think that even the person hiring has a hard time finding that, because you have to go through so many people to find the good one. And so it is a process.
And you yourself have to be on top of your game. Like Courage was saying, like, you have to have those SOPs and you have to have those things, because I know I've been in certain situations where there's like free help. Like you ain't even paying for help, but there's free help, right? I've been in certain organizations where they've had interns and all of those things, and there were great interns, but they didn't, because they didn't have their stuff in order and they didn't have those SOPs. They didn't have any structure in their business and in their company already. It is very hard to have great help if you're not ready for the great help. Like if you haven't had the structure, you haven't put these processes in place, how could you show and train a helper? Like you can't if you don't know what you're doing. So it's like, I think that's another thing that we as business owners have to work on as well. Like Courage was saying, like making sure you know like what this looks like for your business, what this looks like for your company, so that you can say when you have that person come in, you can kind of pass it over. Because I think another thing too is like sometimes the help might have been good, but we didn't have the structure in place. We didn't have the meetings in place, or we didn't have the trainings in place. I'm not saying this is what we went through, but I'm just saying that could be for.
No, I could see that. When you say that, it makes me think of one assistant that I had, and that might be true, but here's the problem. Here's the problem with that is if I'm hiring you to create these things, I cannot also lead you in creating those things. Because if I could create them the way I'm set up right now, because I'm, I just told y'all I struggle to delegate. If I could create them, I probably wouldn't be hiring you at this time. If I'm just being 100% honest, I probably wouldn't be hiring you. It doesn't change that I need to hire somebody. Doesn't change that it's going to help me to grow. But I have hired people to come in. It's like hiring somebody to come in and organize your home and then being like, well, you didn't tell me how you want to organize. Well, if I know how I want to organize, I would be hiring a cleaning company because then I could tell them where to put stuff, not an organizational company. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that is my chicken and egg situation. Like, okay, we the blind. If you, first of all, this is what you do, but you can't tell me what to do, then we about to be the blind leading the blind because I don't know. Well, how do you want your email set up, girl? I don't know.
I think why people ask that is because if you do know, sometimes you don't express it right away, and you're like, well, let me just see what they do, even though I do have an idea. So I think it's good that they ask, but I don't want them to also depend on you for it, right?
Yeah, ask you every day.
Yeah.
I need you to set it up in a way that's organized, that makes sense to you, and then you can tell me whatever, right?
Yeah, then you can say, this is what I've done. Let me know if you want to.
And this makes sense because this is logical because of XYZ. And then I can be like, oh, yeah, that does make sense. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that does make sense. Oh, okay, let's do it that way. But you want me to tell you? Girl.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. Well, this was really good. Honestly, I think back to like where we were. Like I'm in this space. Like
I wonder how you're going to title this.
Being empowered, be empowered, feel empowered. That is really what this is. I'm sitting in the space where Courage has hosted events. Olivia and I have hosted events. We have had individual work meetings in here for our individual brands. We have been in this space when it is ugly, when it is so pretty. We have been in this space where we have been threatened our lives. We have been in this space where there have been fights and arguments. There have been crying sessions. There have been dance parties. So many emotions have been in like where I'm sitting. I'm in the middle of all of it. And I'm looking around. I had a noise happen a minute ago and I was like, somebody about to come through? There is not a door over there. It is a brick wall and it's a weird sound. But I'm just like, we have come so far.
Yeah.
So far. I never would have fathomed our conversations would have been recorded and put on a podcast. Never. We have had many conversations in this space that 3 years ago we were trying to start a podcast, but it just wasn't the right time. We've literally sat down and recorded podcasts. Y'all will never hear them because now they've been deleted.
Did you remember that one time our podcast went live and had like all those views on accident?
It did. You know what? It might still be on my YouTube channel as unlisted or private.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were like 54 views or something. I was like, who the heck heard this?
We're like, how did this get out?
Yeah, I uploaded it or something.
What if some of you guys might have heard a podcast from us
one
day.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And, it's just so cool to see where we've all come. Like, I think that's so amazing. And we have only hit the tip of the iceberg. I just think it's really super cool. So I think we've all been put in a situation to be very empowered. If someone's helped us do that or whatever, or someone's talked life into us or prayed over us, and we didn't even know it, right? That brought like more empowerment of like, we can do this. Even like reading comments, don't y'all feel that way? Like when you read a comment from someone or get an email and they're just like, you have no idea, I've been watching you for a long time. Or I just got connected to you yesterday and I've watched all your stuff. Olivia had somebody binge all of her YouTube videos. Like, I'm like, wow, she is a raving fan. Okay.
Yeah, she really is.
So we've all had situations where we're like, didn't even know this person was there, but just their one sweet response is like, I can do this. And this is why I'm doing what I do. And it's so cool. So yeah, just being super empowered. I love it.
This was good.
Yeah, this was a great conversation. Next week, I already know what I want to talk to y'all about. I haven't shared this with you, Courage, but y'all just wait for it. I'm not. Y'all just wait for it because
she'll tell it.
I know. I'm gonna tell you after we hit end, but y'all are going to be blown away by a place that I walked into, and I was shook by what happened to me. It was crazy. Shook. You know what I'm talking about, Olivia?
No.
You don't?
No.
I mean, maybe when you remind me.
Yeah, you'll know. Right, yeah. I just can't believe it's happened to me, and I can't believe I'm going to actually say it out loud. It's crazy. Well, that's it, guys. I guess you'll have to tune in to the next podcast.
Yeah,
we'll all be tuning in. We gotta be tuning in too to find out what it is.
Exactly.
This was so cool, you guys. Well, make sure you connect with us on Instagram so you can kind of just follow us there. But most importantly, right here, give us a 5-star rating and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any upload. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you do want to see the video recording of this. You can actually see what we look like. The visual.
You can see all the eye rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, little side eyes. Absolutely.
We give.
Yep. If you want us to bring up anything, like you have something you want our opinion on, make sure you drop that in an email to us. That is in the show notes. That is on our YouTube description. Check that out so you don't miss anything. And we can make sure that we bring that up and give you a shout out here on our podcast. So cool. Well, we are My CEO Squad. This was so cool. Anything else y'all want to say, or we're going to do a send-off?
No. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh, shoot. I got to tell y'all something. Wait, I got to tell them something.
Yeah.
Get on the wait list. Get on the wait list. It's in the show notes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Get on the wait list.
Get on the wait list. Don't forget. I don't even know why we didn't even start today with that. Sorry, guys.
Start talking about it. We'll talk about it next week, y'all. Okay?
Yeah, we'll bring it up next week. All right. Well, anyways, get on it. We'll see y'all there.
Bye.
Later.